What's up, crypto enthusiasts? We just had a nice update to our main website, updated some wording and some links, some buttons, and it is really a great tool for onboarding people to Wise and also explaining how the ecosystem works. So we're going to go over that in this video, and feel free to use this video to onboard others to the Wise token ecosystem. And also, I'm sure there's going to be lots of clips in here for people to snip as well. So let's get into it. First of all, we can see at the top here that Wise is backed by Ether and powered by DeFi lending apps. So we'll get to the Wise is backed by Ether parts in a minute, but let's focus first on powered by DeFi lending apps. So underneath here, it says Wise has a price floor in ETH and the largest liquidity pool on Uniswap. That's what creates that backed by Ether part. We'll get to that in a minute. Let's focus on the DeFi lending apps. So if we go to our documentation, we can see that the very first image here kind of explains how that works. You see the blue and pink DeFi lending apps on top, Wise Lending and Liquid NFTs, are both owned by the DAO, the Wise DAO, and they feed their revenue to the DAO, which ends up buying and burning Wise tokens. So this is the basic idea for this ecosystem. So we've got the apps. The apps funnel revenue to the DAO, and the DAO buys and burns Wise. So we have products in our ecosystem. One of them is launched. Liquid NFTs is launched right now. You can go ahead and follow the Liquid NFTs link, and you can see that it is launched. You can see that we have over $2 million in our liquidity pools ready to borrow, and there's active borrowers as well. And if we scroll down a little bit, first of all, we can see the total value locked of our ecosystem. We can see that there's Wise tokens that are staked. There's $14 million worth of those. There's lending. Right now, that's just Liquid NFTs because our Wise lending platform is launching in 1 month and is not live yet. So $2 million from there, and $125 million from liquidity. That is our Wise ETH liquidity pool. And this comprises our ecosystem total of $141.5 million. So if you come and look at our products, you can see that we have updated them with updated links now. We've had Wise staking since the very first day, where you can choose to lock your Wise and you can earn more Wise. And then we have Liquid NFTs, which I just showed you. Borrow against your blue chip NFTs or become a USDC lender, either USDC or ETH lender, to earn APY there. And then Wise Lending, which is not out yet. But you can follow the link to the documentation here, and this is a making yield easy platform. So it's a base lending platform like Aave, where you can deposit crypto to earn APYs, and then you can borrow against your deposits as well. And then we also have yield strategies as well. Those would be our exotic strategies. Our exotic strategies use other decentralized protocols that have higher APYs and allow you to apply like-kind asset leverage towards them. That means either using stablecoins to leverage stablecoin liquidity pools or using ETH to leverage staked ETH applications. So we're talking very tiny chances of liquidation because they're like-kind assets, borrowing like-kind assets, and taking advantage of some of the arbitrage that is out there without having to be a rocket scientist, because we combine it all up into a wrapper contract so that at one push of a button, you can take advantage of some of these elite strategies, earning a higher APY at just the click of a button. So those are our three services. We've had Staking Forever, Liquid NFTs. We just recently launched and got funded. So that's where that $2 million came from. We raised over 1,100 ETH to be able to fund that initial liquidity pool. And Wise Lending comes out in about a month. Some key facts about Wise. First of all, our liquidity is ownerless. We're going to talk about that in just a second here. Backed by Ether. And no fee structure, meaning that we are not VC backed. The community of token holders owns the revenue on the platform, and that is used to increase the value of the token through buying and burning. We've got this nice little slider, and this shows you the backing amount in Ether. Currently, we have 33,964 ETH backing up all of Wise tokens. That ETH is sitting in our pair, in the Wise ETH pair, on Uniswap in that liquidity pool. you can see that we've got price floors in Ethereum. This is very unique to us. No one else has got a token that is backed by ETH, has a price floor in ETH like this. And right now, the price of WISE is 14 cents. And so you can see the current price floor is 13.4 cents. That's if all the liquid WISE in people's wallets were to be sold right now. It would only go down 6% in price. That's how close we are to the price floor. That's how safe it is to invest into WISE right now. And then our ultimate price floor, this is if all the stakers sold as well, it would go down to 11 cents. So only 25% from the current price. That's the ultimate price floor if the very last WISE that was staked or unstaked were to be sold into that Uniswap pair. So extremely safe. And we're also extremely close to our price floor. So here is the ownerless liquidity pool. So proof of burn, this section right here explains what creates that backing. So first of all, let's check out our Uniswap pool. We can see that WISE Ethereum is the top pool on Uniswap version 2 with $125.6 million of liquidity. We're the number one pair on Uniswap. You can see right here, the pooled tokens, 437 million WISE and 33,964 ETH. This is where that ETH is resting. So, but with liquidity pools, you might then ask, well, can't that ETH be removed? Nope, it cannot be removed. The liquidity cannot be removed. The only way anybody can access that ETH is through, if they have WISE tokens, they can trade WISE for ETH in this trading pair. But the liquidity itself cannot be rug pulled. And this is proven here on Etherscan, where you can see that the LP, the person who owns the liquidity for the WISE ETH pair, you can see Uniswap V2, WISE Ethereum pair right here. This Uniswap liquidity provider token represents the WISE ETH pairing. Number one holder, 99.992%. That's everything minus about $7,000. So all hundreds of millions of liquidity is sitting in a null address. This is a burn address right here. Burn addresses are owned by no person. You can tell by the 0x000000. No one has the keys to this liquidity. That's why it's a burn address. And any token sent to this burn address can never be retrieved. It's a way of locking something forever if you don't ever want them to be accessed. So that's what this is. And so that way we know that that this Ethereum can never be rug pulled. But while it can't be rug pulled, it can be accessed if you already have WISE token. You can cash out your WISE for ETH, or if you'd like to buy WISE, you can buy WISE with Ethereum. That's when the pool would grow. So this liquidity pool here, it can never be rug pulled. It can only change in state between either more Ethereum and less WISE, or more WISE and less Ethereum. Right now, it's about at the end of the spectrum of having more WISE and less Ethereum. Because if everybody were to sell their WISE, staked and unstaked, there would still be 28,000 Ether in this pair. So you can see that that's our ultimate price floor. That's what we're very close to right here. So this is the mechanism that created our price floor in Ether. And pretty much nobody else has that, because in order to create that, and in order to make this possible, you have to raise a ton of Ether like we did in 2020. You can see if you scroll to the bottom of our 50-day auction, you can see we raised 57,900 Ether from almost 10,000 people. And then we use that for liquidity instead of lining our own pockets. So it was this selfless act of creating this ownerless liquidity pool that made WISE a reserve token, that made this all possible. And, there's very few other projects that have raised this much money for a token. I mean, even back then when Ethereum was cheaper, this was still $42 million back in 2020. So very, very huge raise, and it was a magnificent thing that we were able to raise this much and use it as ownerless liquidity. So the next thing I wanted to show you guys is the frequently asked questions, because these have been updated as well. So what is the use case for Wise? So Wise is the reserve token for our DeFi apps, as I've shown you here. There aren't many reserve tokens that are actual reserve tokens, because when you're talking about a reserve token, you're talking about something that you would buy and hold as a store of value. So like Bitcoin can be construed as a reserve token. Ethereum, same type of idea. Wise is basically a derivative off of Ethereum, but it's not backed in a one-to-one way. It's backed in a way where it will follow the price of Ethereum, but it can go up versus the price of Ethereum as our DeFi apps, as I've shown you, Liquid NFTs and Wise Lending, as our DeFi apps funnel revenue into the DAO, which buys and burn Wise. So we have the safety of the price floor in Ethereum, and then we have the additional buying pressure of our apps that as they gain traction, as they create revenue, that revenue is used to buy and burn Wise. What does backed by ETH mean? This is what I just showed you before, how we raised all that Ethereum and then used it to create this massive liquidity pool, and then burns the LP tokens to that liquidity, locking it forever, but not locking it so people can't trade it. The only thing that was locked was the ability to yank all the liquidity away and rug pull it. Can't do that, but you can trade it, and you can change it in state from either more Ethereum and less Wise, that's people buying, or less Ethereum and more Wise, that's people selling, but you can only sell it down to our price floor. And right now we are 6% away from our price floor, so extremely low risk. And now, given the fact that you can buy Wise and stake Wise and earn over 10% APY, that makes Wise an extremely safe investment if you are staking it. Now, don't stake small amounts though, because the gas fees on Ethereum will eat up your returns. So if you're going to stake Wise, first of all, stake as long as you can, because the longer you stake, the higher APY it is. Some of my stakes are 20% APY, the ones that are 20, 30, 42 years out. And 20% APY, like that is beating the value of Ethereum. There's no way I can lose. There's no way I can end up with less Ethereum than when I started. So that's the ETH backing. So unlike other tokens, so most other tokens, whether you're talking about Aave or Curve or Pendle, most other tokens, they're not reserve tokens. They're speculative tokens because they're not backed by any value whatsoever. Their only value is speculative value based on how well people think the product is going to do, and they're usually used for rewards. So you create these protocols, they'll create high APY, so you're getting high APYs in this token, but it's not a reserve token. It's a highly speculative token that usually ends up losing value over time. So it's a great way to bootstrap liquidity. So pretty much everybody does it. Uniswap did it. Like I said, Aave, Pendle, pretty much everybody launches their own token because it's a great way to bootstrap value. But I just want to draw the distinction here, because Wise is not one of those speculative value tokens that's highly speculative in value because it's backed by nothing. No, it's actually a reserve token that has a price floor in Ether, and so you could view it as this. It is something that is not very risky to buy versus Ethereum at this point in time, because we're only 6% away from our price floor, and it is something that will grow in value significantly as the apps in our ecosystem funnel revenue to buy and burn Wise. Because think about it, our market cap right now for a Wise token is only about $16 million. So if our apps generate $5 to $10 million and funnel that to buy and burn Wise, that's going to make the price go up very, very quickly, because we're dealing with a smaller market cap versus ETH's market cap. And this was the primary reason why Wise token was created in the first place, because we could have just used Ethereum, right? We could have just used Ethereum and then have the apps funnel to buy and burn Ethereum. But Ethereum's market cap is over $200 billion right now, and that's huge. So our little apps, even if they generated $100 million in 1 year, buying Ethereum and burning that wouldn't affect anything. That would be very, very, very minute changes because everybody uses Ethereum, and Ethereum is for not just the Wise token ecosystem, but for everyone. With Wise token, we took a huge bag of Ethereum, almost 60,000, and said, okay, this is the Wise token Ethereum, built a reserve token off of that. And so now our little $16 million market cap still follows the price of Ether as if Wise token was Ether, but now has the potential to go up significantly versus Ether if we gain traction and start creating that revenue from the apps, Liquid NFTs and Wise Lending, which we're expected to do this year because, we just launched Liquid NFTs and got that funded. We're launching Wise Lending in about a month or two here, and we expect those to generate revenue. As they do, that traction feeds right into our little tiny $16 million market cap, and that will affect it greatly. Now, if Ethereum 5x's from here, we still get to ride that wave as well because of the Ethereum that's backing our entire market cap. Because, on Uniswap right now, we have over $125 million of value. Half of that is Ethereum. That's versus our $16 million market cap. So when ETH goes up in price right now, our market cap's like 9 times bigger than our liquidity is so much bigger than our market cap that if Ethereum 2x's, Wise is going to 2x as well. So we get to ride the coattails of Ethereum's value, and we get to benefit from the value from the apps in our ecosystem as well. So that's what Wise token is. How are DAO token holders incentivized? This is the fact that so we actually have a 2-token ecosystem. We've got the Wise token and the Wise R token. The Wise R token controls the DAO because we just raised this $2 million for Liquid NFTs. Those are reserve funds that's sitting in the DAO. And the way that was raised is by selling Wise R tokens. So Wise R, the reserve token for a DAO, can be burned to get the value that's in the DAO. So Wise R is not a reserve token, it's a DAO token, and it represents the value in the DAO. And it has a price floor in Ethereum as well, but it's exactly at the price floor in Ether because we raise the Ether and we don't plan to do any swapping from that Ether. So the amount of Ether, if you got the average price in the auction for the Wise R token, then that amount of Ether is going to stay the same. Meaning to say, if you have 10 ETH worth of Wise R token, you're always going to have 10 ETH worth of Wise R token. You can always cash that out by burning your Wise R token. And as profits flow into the DAO, the amount that's not burned to buy and burn Wise token remains in the DAO, and that is your profit. So that's the other token in our ecosystem, and you're incentivized to hold that token because it's going to be earning revenue, and if you burn and get your money right away, you get your profits up to that point, but you don't get any of the extra. So does Wise token have any inflation? Yes, Wise token inflates by 4% per year. That goes to stakers and referrers. And this is comparable to the amount that the Ethereum and the Bitcoin market caps were increasing years after they launched, because both Bitcoin and Ethereum had much higher than 4% inflation during their first years of launch. And then they gradually went lower and lower, and now they are lower than 4%. So now, over 10 years later, Bitcoin has like 1.7% current inflation. Ethereum actually achieved deflation because they're buying, or they're not buying and burning. They're burning a portion of all the transaction fees on Ethereum. So Wise has never had more than 4% inflation. Now, it started with 4% and it's been constant. And the reason why that's important is because we wanted to remain a very decentralized supply. So if you look at our holders, nobody has more than 1% of the Wise token supply. It's very well dispersed. There's no whales in Wise token. There can never be any whales in Wise token. I didn't get any free tokens. I sold my home and converted that money to Ether to invest in Wise token. Still isn't, more than 1%. And nobody owns a line share of the supply. nobody can manipulate it. So that's very important. And so if we had massive inflation during the first few years, then the people in the first few years, it could have created whales. So we always have 4% inflation. Now, of course, that doesn't mean 4% staking rewards. Staking rewards are much higher because not all Ys is staked. Like none of the Ys on Uniswap is staked. And that's what enables people like me and others who staked early to earn up to 20% APY on your Y stakes. Right now, if you created a stake that was like 1 to 5 years long, you can hit at least 10% APY. So that's how that works there. So Wise does have inflation, but like Ethereum created deflation by burning a portion of every transaction fee, Wise has an even more powerful mechanism because our two apps, Liquid NFTs and Wise Lending, they're both owned by the DAO and their revenue is being used. Their primary purpose of the revenue is being used to buy and burn Wise to neutralize inflation. So with the Ethereum network, it's not the primary focus of the Ethereum network to buy burn Ethereum. It's a very secondary thing. A tiny portion of every transaction fee gets burnt. Now it's working very well because there's a lot of transactions on Ethereum, and it's massively deflationary right now. However, there's no protocols on Ethereum that are primarily designed just to burn Ethereum. But with Wise, there is. Our two protocols, our two main, flagship protocols in our ecosystem are both their primary points of existing in the first place is to buy and burn Wise. So that's a very powerful mechanism. And that means that as those two apps gain traction, the amount of Wise that's bought and burned is going to increase exponentially. Which means that the value of Wise is going to increase as well. So this is our new and updated website, guys. Check it out. Use it as a tool. I'm very excited about what we have and what we are launching. Our ecosystem is very nearly complete. Guys, I've been doing this for 3 years, and I can't tell you how exciting it is to have everything in place, because for years all I could do is talk about this closed loop mechanism where you have got a token that actually is a reserve token that's actually backed by real value and that has apps that feed revenue into a DAO that buys and burns Wise. Like I've talked about that closed loop forever, but it hasn't existed because we still needed to build everything. Right now, the token is done. The liquidity is there. It's huge. It's massive. The liquidity, the LP tokens are burnt. We have created liquid NFTs. That's working. All it needs is, more borrowers and more revenue, and that's more money streaming into the DAO. We now have the DAO contract. That is done. The DAO already has over 1,000 ETH in it. That's controlled by the Wise R token. We have the mechanisms for buying and burning Wise, and then the only thing that isn't deployed right now is Wise Lending, which we're on the final stretch of. We're just about a month away from being able to, release our beta version of that, and then soon after flip it to live. So we're there, guys. Now, like before, I was just talking about these things and they didn't exist yet because we needed to build them. And now they're like 90% built. So we just have to build this one last piece of the puzzle. And then it's all about just building that traction. So I'm not going to act like this is just going to be an easy ride from here because it's not. Because even after building all these things, they can exist, but it's a big difference from just existing to actually creating millions of dollars of revenue. Now we're going to make it easy. We're definitely going to make it easy to achieve that success because our Wise Lending is the most sophisticated lending app to ever face DeFi. Guys, do you realize that, Wise Lending is launching with things that, multiple different things that just one of those features could be an entire protocol. So our 100% capital efficiency, there is another VC-backed company that launched something. They raised tens of millions of dollars, Morpho Labs. They have a similar type of idea to our 100% capital efficiency. It's not the same, it's similar, and they raised tens of millions of dollars just for that, and they're doing just that thing. That's just one of our features, and that's not even the best feature. Like I think our best feature on Wise Lending is our exotic strategies, those things that are going to be able to create very high amounts of yield, like 100% capital efficiency. That's going to give you like 1%, 2%, edges in APY versus Aave, for instance, and it's going to create a market there. That's good. That's efficient. That's wonderful. But, our exotic strategies, this is going to create, double digit, maybe even some high double digit APYs for Ethereum and for stable coins using like-kind leverage. So that's super exciting. And those are only 2 features. We've got like 5 different really cool features. Our LASA APY on-chain algorithm created by our German scientists and mathematicians, like there's like a dozen different protocols that are attacking that problem. There's many ways to do it, and everybody's trying to figure out the most efficient way. So this is just like we combined all these wonderful things that we've been working on for the past 3 years into one protocol, one behemoth protocol that we're finally launching now, and it is a huge, it's a big deal. This is groundbreaking stuff. This is new technology that we've developed, and the APYs will draw people most certainly to be able to deposit, and then you put money into the machine, and the machine is going to generate those fees which go to the DAO. So, although we are far from a place where we can be like, oh, hey, we're generating $20 million a year in revenue, and $10 million is going to buy and burn Wise. The other $10 million remains in the DAO. That's the profits for the WiseR holders. We're not there yet. But it's not pie in the sky by any means, because as soon as we launch Wise Lending, then all the pieces of the puzzle will be there. And then all we have to do is amp up our marketing, tell friends and family about it, grow through word of mouth, grow by marketing, and just gain that traction. And it's not far-fetched at all to think that we would have, hundreds of millions of dollars total value locked on our protocol within 6 months to a year or so. It's not far-fetched at all. So I'm excited about this because this is my vision coming to fruition. This has been just a dream for years, and now we're finally executing on all this stuff. Now we're finally coming to the point where we can deploy all of these ideas. And I'm so thankful for the rest of the Wise team as well. Our German scientists, Renee and Christoph, our lead, Vitali, and all our other devs, because of course it wouldn't be possible without them. And we have some of the best devs in the entire space. Guys, do you know how hard it is to find talent in the space right now? Do you know how hard it is to keep talent with you? It's so competitive, especially with like NFTs and all these opportunities where good developers can make millions of dollars per year, either doing their own projects or working on some other things. But I am so thankful that our developers have stuck with us because they care about decentralization, they care about fairness, and they care about launching an ecosystem that is actually going to bring us closer to what DeFi is supposed to be. Because if you guys have been listening to me for 3 years, even in the very beginning, I told you guys why I'm doing all this. I'm doing all this because I want the Wise ecosystem to be a better version of banking. Your bank account's going to give you 0.06% APY, yet they're going to charge you, 6% on a student loan. They're going to charge you 26% on your credit card APY. That is highway robbery. It's unfair. In DeFi, there's safe ways to make yields. You can safely make 5 to 10% on your deposited stable coins. You can safely make more if you do some of these exotic strategies for stable coins and for Ethereum. So these things are out there. You of course, all of us want to win the lottery. There's stories out there of people doing 100x, 1000x in a very short amount of time, and that's wonderful. But that's not sustainable. You can't help everybody make 100x forever. And usually only like those cases where you can make 100x or make 1000x, those are few and far between. And for the person that made 100x, there's a person that lost all their money. There's probably a lot more people that actually lost all their money. Whereas the Wise ecosystem, we're creating things that create good yields that you could you can make lots of money. If you have whatever funds you start out with, you can put them in our ecosystem and make great safe yield as soon as Wise lending is here. Staking Wise, that's speculative based on the price of Ethereum, and it's also speculative based on whatever state we are. Are people selling Wise? Is Wise oversold? Are we closer to our price floor, or is it overbought? Are people buying Wise? So there's more speculation in there for buying and staking Wise, but there's hardly any speculation for these stablecoin yield opportunities that Wise Lending is going to offer. So I'm very excited about that. Very excited that it's just about here, because as soon as we have this last piece of the puzzle, it's time to onboard everyone into the Wise ecosystem. Before, it's like you had to convince someone to buy and stake Wise, and you had to explain to them why it's a good idea. And there's a case there for sure. But once we have Wise Lending, there's an even better case for people that are even more risk averse, because you can tell them it's okay. You can use stable coins. Like you want to keep your US dollars and you don't want to lose any money versus your US dollars. That's fine. Here's something to give you 10 times the amount that your bank account is going to give you in stablecoin yield. And it's there. So we're almost there, guys. Our ecosystem is almost complete. I'm so happy to be speaking to you from a position of these things are live now, and it's time to turn on the gas, turn on the heat, as far as getting your friends and family members ready for this launch, because we're going to have all sorts of opportunities. There's going to be yield opportunities that are fantastic, so pay attention, stay close. We are launching very soon, and it's going to be epic. Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment as well. Make sure you're subscribed. Thank you so much, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.